Looks like we're back.
No, we just got lots of Shabbat Shalom, and we are back.
Yep.
And so, guys, we're continuing on with Genesis. And I'm going to tell you something. Before next week, I will update my computer. Right, Sherry?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to do that. So it's got to.
We'll get it.
We don't even know how to do that, but we're going to learn. Okay. So did you the prayer that Abraham prayed was beautiful, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, keep going.
Back to Jasher.
Yasher 8, 26,
Jasher.
8.
We're gonna quit with J's. All right. And Yahweh heard the prayer of Yitzhak, the son of Abraham, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rivkah his woman conceived. And about 7 months after the children struggled together within her, and it pained her greatly that she was wearied on account of them. And she said to all the women who were then in the land, Did such a thing happen to you as it has to me? And they said unto her, No. And she said unto them, Why am I alone in this amongst all the women that were upon earth? And she went to the land of Moriah to seek Yahweh on account of this. And she went to Shem and Eber his son to make inquiries of them in this matter, and that they should seek Yahweh in this thing respecting her.
Isn't it interesting that she goes back to Mount Moriah? This is also where they went to pray.
Yeah.
What happened to Yishak on Mount Moriah?
You tell me.
The sacrifice.
Yes.
This is where his
I think I
dad
get my
took
mountains
him.
confused.
Yeah, well,
There's so many mountains to remember.
Well, and Mount Moriah is actually the mountain, part of the mountain range where the Temple Mount is. So the Temple Mount is on Mount Moriah. So he went back here where he knew Abba heard their prayers. Because don't you know that when he was on that altar, he was like, "Oh,
Please hear
Abba
me."
Yahweh, please hear my prayer.
Yeah.
Give us a ram so I can get off this altar." and he did. He had provided that ram there since the beginning of time. So he went back there, and now we see here Rivkah. She goes back to the exact same place.
And she went to Shem.
She went to Shem.
He's still around.
Yes, he is still here.
Yeah.
And he will die, but not until after Yaakov spends time with him. Listen, guys, it is so important. It is so important who you spend time with, who you learn from. And it's important for all of you in here to be teaching your children, because they will go the way you teach them. They will. It will cement in them. And those little eyes, they watch everything you do. Okay, I'm
And
sorry.
everybody should have a Shem somewhere.
Oh man, I wish I had a Shem in my life.
Yeah. I've had some good mentors, but a Shem would be incredible.
It would be awesome.
And she also asked Abraham to seek and inquire of Yahweh about all that had befallen her. And they all inquired of Yahweh concerning this matter, and they brought her word from Yahweh and told her, 2 children are in your womb, and 2 nations shall rise from them, and 1 nation shall be stronger than the other, and the greater shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were completed, she knelt down, and behold, there were twins in her womb, as Yahweh had spoken to her. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And all the people of the land called his name Esau, saying that this one was made complete from the womb. And after that came his brother, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. Therefore they called his name Yaakov. And Yitzhak, the son of Abraham, was 60 years old when he begat them. And the boys grew up to their...
Okay, we're gonna go forward, and then we're gonna catch up with where you are, and then you're gonna go further.
Okay.
How's that?
That works.
So you heard the ages that they were 60 and 30. So there's 30 years difference in them. Okay, and so I will start here at 22. I'm in chapter 25. And within her the children struggled together, and she said, "If all is right, why am I this way?" So she went to ask Yahweh, and Yahweh said to her, 2 nations are in your womb. Who did he say this through?
Shem.
Shem, Abraham, and Eber. So she actually went, what respect to go to your elders and go, "I'm really having some issues here. Look at my stomach. It's like a
Honor
fight
the
is going
gray-headed."
in here." Yes. Isn't that the truth? I wonder if they even had hair at that time. No, I'm kidding. So 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples shall be separated from your body, and 1 people shall be stronger than the other, and the older serve the younger. And when the days were filled for her to give birth, see, twins were in her womb. First came out red all over, like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, because that means hairy. It also means a red tone. And afterward, his brother came out with his hand holding onto Esau's heel, and his name was called Yaakov. And Yishak was 60 years old when she bore them. And the boys grew, and Esau became a man knowing how to hunt, a man in the field, while Yaakov was a complete man, dwelling in tents. So we've got a hunter, or like what we would call today a manly man. We got a manly man. He goes out, he hunts, he probably does sheep, and then we've got Yaakov. He's a complete man.
Sounds like a well-rounded man.
That's exactly what that means. So he was studying Torah. He was being obedient to Dad. He was helping Mom. He was tending the flocks and the vegetable gardens. So he was doing everything. He was well-rounded. But it sounds like Esau just liked to stay out there hunting. What's that song, Gone Fishing?
Yeah.
He didn't have a wife.
Yeah.
And
Couldn't keep her if he did.
that's right. And Yishak loved Esau because he ate of his wild game, but Rivkah loved Yaakov. So we're going to stop here because this is important to fill in the blanks of where we're fixing to go. So we're going to start back in 26:17.
And the boys grew up to their 15th year, and they came amongst the society of men. Esau was a designing and deceitful man, and an expert hunter in the field. And Yaakov was a man perfect and wise, dwelling in tents, feeding flocks, and learning the instructions of Yahweh, and the commands of his father and mother. And Yitzhak and the children of his household dwelt with his father Abraham in the land of Canaan, as Elohim had commanded them. And Ishmael, the son of Abraham, went with his children and all belonging to them, and they returned there to the land of Shavilah, and they dwelt there. And all the children of Abraham's concubines went to dwell in the land of the east, for Abraham had sent them away from his son, and had given them presents, and they went away.
Okay, so these are all his extras from his third wife that we read about last week. But he tells you right here how deceitful Esau was. And what did Rivkah already know?
That he was deceitful.
He was deceitful, but what did
She knew that he was going to be the lesser of the nations.
That's exactly
Yeah.
it. Even though the younger, and they were twins, but the second born is always considered the youngest.
It's cold. I live cold.
So she knew the youngest was going to be the leader. She knew in her heart, and she knew that this was going to take place. So keep that in mind when we read what's fixing to start in 27. And we read about the death of Abraham last week, about Ishmael and Isaac burying him together. They went together to bury their father. They were really very close. As they grew older and the jealousies of youthfulness, they kind of go away, don't they? We kind of grow out of them. They grew very close.
I think we learned his third wife's name was Keturah.
Keturah was his third wife.
Yeah. And teach you your children and your seed the instructions of Yahweh. Oh, 27.
Yeah, 27.
Okay. And Esau at that time, after the death of Abraham, frequently went into the field to hunt. And Nimrod, king of Babel, the same was Amraphel, and frequently went with his mighty men to hunt in the field, and to walk about with his men in the cool of the day. And Nimrod was observing Esau all the days, for a jealousy was formed in the heart of Nimrod against Esau all the days. And on a certain day Esau went in the field to hunt, and he found Nimrod walking in the wilderness with his 2 men. And all his mighty men and his people were with him in the wilderness. But they removed at a distance from him, and they went from him in different directions to hunt, and Esau concealed himself for Nimrod, and he lurked for him in the wilderness. Sounds like he's stalking him. And Nimrod and his men that were with him did not know him, and Nimrod and his men frequently walked about in the field at the cool of the day, and to know where his men were hunting in the field. And Nimrod and 2 of his men that were with him came to the place where they were, when Esau started suddenly from his lurking place, and drew his sword, and hastened, and ran to Nimrod, and cut off his head. And Esau fought a desperate fight with the 2 men that were with Nimrod. And when they called out to him, Esau turned to them and smote them to death with his sword. And all the mighty men of Nimrod, who had left him to go to the wilderness, heard the cry at a distance, and they knew the voices of those 2 men. And they ran to know the cause of it, when they found their king and the 2 men that were with him lying dead in the wilderness. And when Esau saw the mighty men of Nimrod coming at a distance, he fled and thereby escaped. And Esau took the valuable garments of Nimrod, which Nimrod's father had bequeathed to Nimrod, and with which Nimrod prevailed over the whole land, and he ran and concealed them in the house.
Do you know what these were?
The garments that Adam and Eve had.
They were
from
the
Yahweh.
garments of Adam and Hua. And Adam had given them down to, they ended up in Noah's hand.
They passed down.
And
through
so Noah
generations.
took them on the ark. And when the ark landed, Noah, when Ham left, he left with these precious garments in his possession. And they were priceless. I mean, these were the garments that Adam and Hua had been clothed with in the garden. Or once they came out of the garden.
The first heirloom.
Huh?
The first heirloom.
It was the first heirloom. And he
Mom's
also,
first wardrobe.
more than likely, he also had the staff, the blue staff that had been given to them by Yahweh. So he had quite a number of things. All these were stolen by him, and he gave them to his son, Canaan, who gave them to his son, Nimrod. So these clothes, we were talking this morning about the spiritual seed of the serpent. And Nimrod, though he came from a righteous man, he was not a righteous man.
Yeah.
Though in the beginning, you will see, y'all, when y'all was first talking to Nimrod, he said, "You're a man after my own heart. You have the ability to be a great man." But did Nimrod beckon to his call?
No, he corrupted himself beyond all measure.
He did. He openly invited the serpent in, and he became a mighty, mean, bad king, right?
Yeah. He
So-
even messed with the Watcher stuff and somehow corrupted himself with Nephilim's magic.
Well, and he's the one that had hired Terah, which was Abraham's father. He was the one who hired him to build all of his idols. He's the one who had cast Abraham into the fire. You remember all that? This was Nimrod. He had
good
cast
guy.
Abraham into the fire, and then when he was like, uh-oh, he didn't burn up, and not only did he not burn up, his clothes didn't burn up. I'm in trouble. I better honor him because he did not. And he did honor him, but Abraham had to leave from there. Okay, but these clothes are very, very special, and you're going to see them. So Esau's now got them.
Yep,
Okay, we know where they are now.
been returned.
Yep.
And Esau took the garments and ran into the city on account of Nimrod's men. And he came unto his father's house, wearied and exhausted from fight. And he was ready to die through grief when he approached his brother Yaakov and sat before him. And he said unto his brother Yaakov, Behold, I shall die this day. And wherefore then do I want the birthright? And Yaakov acted wisely with Esau in this matter. And Esau sold his birthright to Yaakov, for it was so brought about by Yahweh. And Esau's portion in the cave of the field of Machpelah, when Abraham had brought from the children of Cheth for the possession of the burial ground. Esau also sold to Yaakov, and Yaakov bought all this from his brother Esau for value given. And Yaakov wrote the whole of this in a sefer, and he testified the same with witnesses, and he sealed it, and the sefer remained in the hands of Yaakov. And when Nimrod the son of Cush died, his men lifted him up and brought him in consternation, and buried him in his city, and all the days that Nimrod lived were 215 years, and he died.
So he has a deed. He has a written deed to this, to all the property. So there's not what you're going to see when Esau tries to go, well, he stole my birthright. Did he?
Nope.
He didn't.
He's
He
got it
took what
written.
was rightfully his. But it makes you wonder why Yishak wasn't aware that this took place.
Yeah.
Because he should have known.
Probably because Yaakov might have been using just a little bit of deception there, because Yitzhak would have had the authority to tell Yaakov, give it back.
It
I
was
would
sold.
think.
There was
True.
there was and
But he's
these-
dad.
Yeah, he was dad, but these boys were quite old at this
Yeah,
time.
that's true.
And so they were men, and I mean,
They didn't have to listen to dad, I
they
guess.
didn't have to listen to the blind dad who was, spiritually unaware of anything going on around him, because Yaakov gave a price that was agreed upon between he and Esau, and
Esau signed.
he's got a written deed of everything in his hand, and you're going to see later on when they're burying Yaakov, when they bring him back from Egypt. You don't see it right now; it's going to be a while. But when they bring Yaakov back and bury him, there's a huge fight over the cave of Machpelah, because the cave of Machpelah is where Yaakov wanted to be buried. It's where he buried everyone, right?
And it's his
Except
now.
for Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel wasn't buried there, so it is his.
Yeah, she was buried in Abraham's cave.
Yeah, I think Issachar, is it Issachar that runs like a deer?
I think so.
I think it's Issachar. So at that time, Joseph sent Issachar all the way back to Egypt to come back with the deed, with the Sefer, with the recorded deed of the sale, so that they could no longer fight them because they weren't going to let them bury Yaakov. Okay, I'm fixing to start back in the scriptures. And is there anything that we need to?
I don't think so.
Oh, yes, there is. Read all the way down to 28 because do you remember the prophecy from the wise man when they
yeah.
saw the star that Abraham was born under? Read that because that is really cool.
And the days that Nimrod reigned upon the people of the land were 185 years. And Nimrod died by the sword of Esau in shame and contempt, and the seed of Abraham caused his death as he had seen in his dream. And at the death of Nimrod, his kingdom became divided into many divisions. And all those parts that Nimrod reigned over were restored to the respective kings of the land, who recovered them after the death of Nimrod. And all the people of the house where Nimrod were for a long time enslaved to all the other kings of the land.
Okay, so if you go back to Yasher, chapter 8, this is what the men had seen who were with Nimrod. They said, and your servants were astonished. It's 8, verse 11. And your servants were astonished at the sight which we saw and were greatly terrified. And we made our judgment upon the sight and knew by our wisdom the proper interpretation thereof, that this thing applies to the child that is born to Torah. This is Abraham. They're talking about baby Abraham, who will grow up, he will multiply greatly and become powerful, and he will kill all the kings of the earth and inherit all their lands, he and his seed forever. And now our Adonai and King, behold, we have truly acquainted you with what we have seen concerning this child, and if it is good to you, the king, to give his father value for this child, we will slay him before he shall grow up and increase in the land. So this child's seed is what has killed Nimrod.
Mm-hmm.
So that prophecy came
fulfilled
to
right there.
It was fulfilled and it came to pass. Let's see. Okay, we're going back into scriptures. I'm sorry, we're jumping back and forth, but I want us to see everything that's happening. Okay, are y'all ready? We're back in 25. We're not making very much progress, are we? 27. And the boys grew, and Esau became a man, knowing how to hunt, a man of the field, while Yaakov was a complete man dwelling in tents. And Yishak loved Esau because he ate of his wild game, but Rivkah loved Yaakov. And Yaakov cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. And Esau said to Yaakov, please feed me with that same red stew, for I'm weary. And this is why his name was called Edom. But Yaakov said, sell me your birthright today. And Esau said, look, I'm going to die, so why should I have birthright? And then Yaakov said, swear to me today. And he swore to him and sold his birthright to Yaakov. Yaakov then gave Esau bread and stew of lentils, and he ate and drank and rose and laughed. Thus Esau despised his birthright. But I mean, guys, it's deeper than that. Truly, Esau didn't think he was going to live to see even nightfall, because
He figured the king's men were on their way for him.
there were many men out in the field. He saw them coming after him, and he was like, I'm going to die, and I'm going to eat some bread and some lentils, and I'm going to be fat and sassy when I
I
go.
would imagine when you're guilty from having murdered a king, you probably assume someone saw you because you're going to get a little paranoid.
Oh, yeah. And you know, Nimrod was actually his kinfolk.
Mm-hmm.
It was like his great uncle or
Yeah.
distant uncle. So this is kinfolk that's killing kinfolk. Family feuding going on here, isn't it? Okay, 26:1.
Glad my family just argues.
Yeah, no killing there.
Yeah.
No offing of the older brothers to take the possessions. And there was a scarcity of food in the land besides the first scarcity of food, which was in the days of Abraham. And Yishak went to Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines, in Gerar. And Yahweh appeared to him, and he said, do not go down to Mitzrayim. Live in the land which I command you. Again, why does Yishak never leave the land?
He's protected there.
Yeah.
What was he? What did Abraham do? when Yeshak was, what, 40 years old, he was the Olah offering. He offered him up as an ascending offering before Yah on the altar at Mount Moriah. And so as the ascending Olah offering, he could never leave the land of Israel. So he is in the land, and we see that right here. Live in the land which I command you. You cannot leave. You've got to stay in the land. So he couldn't go to Mitzrayim during this famine. He said, sojourn in this land, and I shall be with you, and I shall bless you. And I shall give you all these lands to you and to your seed, and I shall establish the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. Excuse me.
There's another point there to be made as well. So these guys are living in the time when the sons of Noah are still alive.
Yes.
And so they understand what it means when you defy a curse and you go to land you don't belong in.
Yes. But they had already done that.
So that's my point. Yeah.
Because Canaan came from Ham's descendants. So they had already disputed over the land.
So he would have taken that very seriously,
Yes.
knowing that.
Yes.
Before.
Thank you. You're so good. And I shall increase your seed like the stars of the heavens, and I shall give all these lands to your seed, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice and guarded my charge, my commands, my laws, and my. This is Torot. It could also be called Toratai, which means all of my commands. But Toratai is my commandments. So he obeyed my commandments, my Torah, my Torah. This is Yah's Torah. And Yah here is who? Yahusha. It's Yahusha who has given all these commandments. So he's saying, I mean, this if this doesn't nail down the fact that obedience is very important, I don't know what. Abraham obeyed my voice. He guarded my charge, my commands, my laws, and my Torah. And this is why I'm going to give to all the seeds, and I'm going to bless all the nations through Abraham, because of Abraham. It's not because of anything that they're doing. It's not because of anything Yishak has done. Yishak is not the man that Abraham was, is he? If he was a man that Abraham was when he got older, he would not have spiritual blindness. Okay? He was filling his time with things other than.
He was living
word.
through Esau's hunting stories.
That's it. So what did you see today? Because, he couldn't see. Okay, and Yishak dwelt in Gerar, and when the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, oh, she's my sister.
Here we go again.
For he was afraid to say, oh, she's my wife, thinking lest the man of this place should kill me for Rivka, because she is a good-looking woman. Listen, all of Sarah and what was her name? What was her sister's name? Milcah. Yeah, Milcah and Sarah, one was named my queen, one was named my princess, and my beautiful queen, my beautiful princess. All of these women must have been just like knocked down beautiful, because here's Rivka, and he's like, oh, they're going to kill me because of you. And so, is he lying?
Probably not.
Not really.
Because really they're kin.
Yeah, they're related.
I mean, they really are kin, because she is his mother's niece. I mean,
Not father's daughter.
yeah, but not my father's daughter, but it's my mother's niece. And it came to be when he had been taken there a long time that Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines, looked through the window, and he watched, and he saw Yishak playing with Rivka, his wife. And so Abimelech called Yishak, I've got too much writing in my book, called for Yishak, and he said, see, truly she is your wife. So how could you say she's my sister? And Yishak said to him, because I said, lest I die on account of her. I mean, why should I die because of her, right? And Abimelech said, what is this you have done to us? He said, one of the people could have almost lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us. And Abimelech commanded all his people, saying, anyone who touches this man or his wife shall certainly be put to death. And Yishak sowed in that land, and he reaped in the same year 100-fold, and Yahweh blessed him. He sowed he sowed seed in the land where they are having famine. There's a famine going on.
You got 100-fold back.
100-fold. I would like double-fold on my seed, wouldn't y'all?
No kidding.
He got 100-fold back of what he put into the ground. But listen, he's still in Israel. He's still in the land. And the man grew great. He went forward until he became very great. And he came to have possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great body of servants, and the Philistines envied him. That always happens, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had to send Abraham away, didn't they? Now they're going to have to send Yishak away. And the Philistines had stopped up all the wells. What do the wells, what are they a symbol of? Blessings.
Spiritual blessings.
You know, we're bubbling up. The wells are just full of blessings, just overflowing to this family. But what are they doing? They're going and throwing rocks and dirt down there, and they're stopping the wells up. So they stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham, his father, and filled them with dirt. You remember there was a covenant made between Abraham and Abimelech?
Over the well.
Yes, over the wells. Yeah, and Abimelech said to Yishak, "Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we." He had already outgrown the Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
He was already bigger than they were. They were like, "You're gonna have to move. You're just too much for us." So Yishak went from there, and he pitched his tent in the Wadi Gerar and dwelt there. And Yishak dug again the wells of water which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham, and he called them by the names which his father had called them. But when Yishak's servants dug in the wadi and found a well of running water there, the herdsmen of Gerar strove with Yishak's herdsmen and said, "The water is ours. That's ours. That's ours. This one's ours. It's all ours,"
A
right?
bunch of mine people.
Mine. I know. What is that? Oh, the birds.
Mine.
You've seen that movie too. That was the Caleb movie, right?
Yeah, I've been in that era.
Mine.
Mine.
And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they dug another well, and they strove over that one too, and he called its name Sitnah, which means hatred and enmity.
Mm.
And he moved from there, and he dug another well, and they did not strive over it, and he called its name Rehoboth. And said, "For now Yahweh has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." And so the name of that well was Open Spaces. And from there he went up to Beersheba. And Yahweh appeared to him in the same night and said, "I am Elohim of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you, and shall bless you and increase your seed for my servant Abraham's sake." Again, this is not for anything Yishak has done.
Mm-hmm.
This is for what his father has done.
Yeah, and there's a parallel here, and I think it's awesome because
Oh,
here we are in
show
the
it to
beginning
us.
of Genesis, and we're in the beginning of Israel beginning to spread out before it's becoming a nation.
Yes.
And if you go to the back of the book and you start in Matthew, you'll find that Yahusha all of a sudden just starts going to wells. And he's going to some of these wells specifically, and I find it fascinating that these wells are so prominent as Israel's beginning to be developed. When Yahusha begins his ministry, he also is just taken with these wells and always seems to go to them. He tells parables at these
Yes.
wells, and he meets people at these wells, and they have deep meaning because some of the people even speak to him saying, "Well, you don't know these people, these are my people."
Yeah, well, the woman
And yet here
from
we are.
Samaria.
Yeah.
She tells him, "Hey,
So it's like
my
the book is
father's
paralleling.
does
It's really
this.
cool.
That is really neat." And you know what's really fascinating? So, Yaakov has not met his woman yet,
Mhm.
but he'll meet her at a well.
At a well.
So every meeting is at a well. Let's
Yeah.
go get a drink at
And
the
Yahusha
well.
was all about spiritual water. And so it just, to me, water is life for these folks here and trying to get their flocks and crops flocks and crops to grow. And then Yahusha comes into a much more settled area, and he's talking of spiritual water. And just, it's beautiful, the parallel.
It is absolutely fascinating, front to back. When you put it all together, it's like a puzzle. You keep putting the pieces in, and you're like, "Wow, look at this." So I was going to say something else, and I totally forgot. Isn't that horrible? Okay, but he's not doing any of this for Yishak's sake or for Yaakov's sake. This is for Abraham's sake. Guys, you can affect generations behind you by being obedient to his commands, because it affects your children, it affects your grandchildren. How many in here have had to break off generational curses? I have.
Yep.
I've had to do it for me. I've had to do it for my children. And I will probably continue to do it, because as I grow, as I go down this walk, Abba keeps bringing things to me, and I'm like, "Oh, wow.
That too, huh?
Here we go. Breaking it off. So our Father is very gracious.
Well, not just is he gracious, but you hate
Merciful.
him and he only goes 3 to 4 generations, but you love him, he'll do thousands.
Thousands. That has always blown me away. How he's going to bless thousands of generations of your children, but if you're bad and you haven't been obedient, he's only going to curse 3 to 5.
Incredible mercy.
But think of that. Even 3 to 5 generations, that goes down to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, great, and I mean, it could keep going. Depending on how bad the sin is or how horrible you are, it could go far, far.
If someone doesn't break those curses, yeah.
So, yeah, for Abraham's sake. So, for Jessica's sake. He could say, for Jessica's sake, I'm blessing all of these people around her. I mean, that is just, to me, that's just incredible. That just from loving him and obeying him, Abba could bless your generations. I mean, is that not incredible? I mean, all you have to do is be obedient, you know? Okay, and he built a slaughter place there, and he called on the name of Yahweh, and he pitched his tent there, and the servants of Yishak dug a well there. And Abimelech came to him from Gerar, and with Ahuzath, got bleed through, with Yahuzzah, one of his friends, and Pakal, the commander of his army. And Yishak said to them, why have you come to me, seeing you've hated me and have sent me away from you? Listen to this. This is funny. But they said, we have clearly seen that Yahweh is with you. And we said, please, let there be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you. They're doing just like his father, Abimelech's father, did with Abraham. Let's make a covenant. I don't want you to turn around and want to whip us, want to take from us everything that we have, because that's what could happen. That you do no evil to us. We have not touched you, and we have done only good towards you, and have sent you away in peace, and you are now blessed by Yahweh. And he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. So when you see a covenant being made,
There's always food.
there's always food, there's always salt. Salt is part of the covenants, always. There's food, there's salt, and generally there's a tree planted. Let's see if they planted a tree. But generally they will plant trees or they'll stack stones. There's going to be something.
Yeah, and when they swear the 7 oaths, I went and looked at this because I was curious because I keep seeing
Oh,
all
wow.
the 7 oaths that are being sworn. And I was like, okay, what are these 7 oaths? It's swearing the same oath 7 times.
Oh, is it?
That's what I've been able to gather.
And I don't think I saw that in here.
It's in 31.
I think it was.
26:31, and they rose up
It is
early
not
the
in
morning
here.
and swore 7 oaths one to another, and Yitzhak sent them away, and they departed from him. in
It is
peace.
not in the scriptures. So mine says, and he made them a feast. They ate and drank, and they rose early in the morning, swore an oath with one another, and Yishak let them go, and they departed from him in peace. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
So 7 oaths would be like, I'm swearing to you, I'm not going to come and take your wells. I really am swearing to you, I'm not going to come take your
Yeah.
wells.
Well, I was
Okay.
curious because it says
I'm not gonna
in
take
multiple
wells.
places that Yahweh swore 7 oaths. And so I'm like, okay, I'd really like to know what are the 7 oaths that Yahweh swore. And so I went and started studying
Oh,
this. And
It's a seed.
from what you can tell from various theology, it just means he swore at the same time. Or he swore the same oath 7 times.
Oh, wow.
Like the number seals something.
Well, I think he did swear 7 different oaths to Abraham.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
In that
So,
case.
yeah, and then they go down to all of our generations, right? As long as you what?
Obey. Stay lawful.
Well, thank you. That was good because see that was mystery. This is what's really cool about using different Bibles.
So I like to read from different versions.
And on the same day it came to be, I'm in 32. And on the same day it came to be that the servants of Yishak came and informed him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, we have found water. And so he called it Sheba. Therefore, the name of the city is Beer Sheba to this day, a well of an oath, the oath well. And when Esau was 40 years old, he took his wives, Yehudith, the daughter of Beri, the Hittite, shame, shame, shame. What was he not supposed to do?
Marry those.
Marry them. And Basemath, the daughter of Elon, another Hittite. So go to Deuteronomy 7, 1 through 5. Because this is important, guys. when Yah gives us instructions, He is very serious about it. And I'm going to read the next sentence while you're going to Deuteronomy 7, 1 through 5. He says, and they were a bitterness of spirit to Yishak and to Rivkah.
When Yahweh Elohim shall bring you into the land whither you go to possess it, and he has cast out many nations before you, the Chittim, the Hittite, and the Girgashiim, and the Amorayim, and the Canaanite, and the Perizzium, and the Shivaim, and the Yebusiim, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And when Yahweh Elohim shall deliver them before you, you shall smite them and utterly destroy them. You shall cut no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter you shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall you take unto your son. For they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other Elohim. So will the anger of Yahuwah be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. But thus shall you deal with them. You shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their Asherah poles, and burn their graven images with fire. For you are a holy people unto Yahweh Elohim. Yahweh Elohim has chosen you to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
You're set apart.
Mm-hmm.
Be holy as I am holy. Yahweh
Absolutely.
tells us that, and Yahushua tells us that. Be holy and set apart as I am holy and set apart. So in order to do that, that means to be obedient to his commands. Don't marry Hittites. Don't eat the things that are not food and contaminate or defile the temple. Guys, this is the temple right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is his temple. There is no temple on the face of the earth right now for the Yahs.
Everybody's watching for that third temple.
But who's gonna? But tell me.
It's not coming.
Yahusha says he's going to build the third temple with hands not of man. Who's going to build that third temple?
It's already
Synagogue? Is it the synagogue of Satan?
Oh,
I'm going to tell you
no
something.
doubt.
If they attach that
They'll try.
man-made synagogue to the mosque that is already on the Temple Mount, it will be pretty much proof to me that it is the synagogue of Satan that is building it.
And that's another lie they've told us too, is the Temple Mount is not actually the original temple foundation. It's
Zion?
actually the fort of Antonius, which is a
It
Roman
is.
fort.
Well, but that came from Josephus. And Josephus is being proven to be a Pharisee. Did you know that?
Yep.
Okay, so, boy, it has been, they have found evidence that possibly the temple was built in Zion, the city of David, which is down the hill from the Temple Mount. So, yes, sir.
Anytime that the scriptures say, and there to this day, I always do a little search and see. So going back to Sheva, the well, it says in the early 20th century is marked the cornerstone for new city, today Beersheba, old city. Today, the well is not in use, but it's still a central landmark for modern Beersheba, the biggest city in southern Israel.
Isn't that cool? It's
So,
still
you
there
know,
today.
Anytime it says, unto this day, look it up, just see. And it's always there.
I do the same thing because what are we supposed to be doing? Test the word, test the spirit. Excuse me, I've got the hiccup. I may have to be dismissed.
Well, and in 1 Corinthians 3:16, do you not know that you are a dwelling place of Elohim and that the spirit of Elohim dwells in you?
There it is. That's it in a nutshell. You are the dwelling place of Yahusha. You're the dwelling place of the Spirit. You've got to keep this dwelling place clean. Period. Okay, are we ready?
I think so.
Okay, you're fixing to have to read. Okay, and it came to be when Yishak was old and his eyes were too dim to see that he called. So we have spiritual degradation begins before physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So spiritually, he's gone down a little bit because he can't physically see, and I'm going to tell you, he cannot spiritually see either, or he would know who Esau was.
Yeah.
He would know that he is a man of deception. So it came to be when Yishak was old and his eyes were too dim to see that he called Esau his elder son, and he said to him, "My son." And he answered him, "Hineni, here I am." And he said, See now, I am old and I do not know the day of my death. So now then, please take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt wild game for me. and make me a tasty dish, such as I love, and bring it to me to eat, in order that my being does bless you before I die. And Rivkah heard what when Yishak spoke to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt wild game and to bring it. And Rivkah spoke to Yaakov her son, saying, See, I heard your father speak to Esau your brother, saying, Bring me wild game and make me a tasty dish to eat, and I bless you in the presence of Yahweh before my death. And now, my son, listen to my voice according to what I command you. Please go to the flock, bring me 2 choice goats, and I'll make a tasty dish from them for your father, such as he loves, and you shall take it to your father. He shall eat it, so that he might bless you with his before his death. And Yaakov said to Rivkah his mother, See, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I'm a smooth-skinned man. What if my father touches me? Then I shall be like a deceiver in his eyes, and shall bring a curse on myself and not a blessing. But his mother said to him, Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go and get them for me. Okay, let me ask you something. Who told Rivkah who would be the head of the other?
Shem, Abraham,
And Eber.
yeah.
And Eber. And they said, This comes from Yahweh. I mean, you've got 2 nations within you. The younger will overrule the older. What's Esau about to do? And I'm going to tell you, sons tell their moms the things that go on, don't they? Mom knew that Esau had foolishly sold everything to Yishak. I'm sure she had seen the sefer, because he was like, man, just in case I fall off a hill and bump my head, I want somebody to know where this book is, because this is my rightful property. So Rivkah knew. She knew it all. So Rivkah took the best garments of her elder son. What garments do you think this would be? What would be his very best garments?
The ones from Adam and Eve.
The ones from Adam and Hud that Nimrod had worn, which were with her in the house, and put them on Yaakov, her younger son. And she put the skins of the young goats on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. This man must have been the hairiest boy around. And then she gave the tasty dish and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Yaakov. And he went to his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Who are you, my son? And Yaakov said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you said to me. Please rise, sit, and eat of the wild game, so that your being might bless me. But Yishak said to his son, How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because Yahweh, your Elohim, brought it to me. I don't think this is something Esau would have said to him.
No.
I don't believe it is. But Yishak did. And then Yishak said to Yaakov, Please come near, so that I feel you, my son, whether you truly are my son Esau
Probably
or
why
not.
he wanted to come check him out, because of what he just said.
Yeah, he's like, This is not my son. And Yaakov went near to Yishak, his father. He knelt, he felt him, and he said, The voice is the voice of Yaakov, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy, like his brother Esau's hands. And he blessed him. And he said, Are you truly my son Esau? And he said, I am. So he deceived him right there, saying, I am Esau. So, and he said, Bring it near me and let me eat of my son's wild game, so that my being might bless you. And so he brought it. He brought it. Did I miss something? Yeah, I've turned 2 pages. He brought it near to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Yishak said to him, Please come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near, kissed him, and he smelled, and the smell of his garments. And he blessed him, and he said, See, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which Yahweh has blessed. And Elohim give you the dew of the heavens, and the fatness of the earth, and the plenty of grain and wine. And let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those cursing you, and blessed be those blessing you. And it came to be, as soon as Yishak had finished blessing Yaakov, and Yaakov had hardly left the presence of Yishak, his father, Esau, his brother, came in from his hunting. Uh-oh. And we start in, let's see. I think you're going to start in 28 because it doesn't really go into this deception. So really, let me continue, and then you're going to start reading in 16
Okay.
of 28. Actually, I'm gonna get you to read 28:7, and then you're gonna go to 16. We're still in the scriptures, and then we're gonna kind of scoot over to Yasher. Okay. And he said, okay, when Esau heard, then Yishak trembled exceedingly and said, who was it then who hunted wild game, brought it into me, and I ate all of it before you came? I have blessed him, and yes, he is blessed. You can't take a blessing back. We need to be careful who we bless, don't we?
Yeah.
We've got to be so careful with our words. Okay, when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry and said to his father, bless me too. Oh, bless me, oh my father. And he said, your brother came with deceit and took your blessing. And Esau said, and the blessing, he could have been blessed and not gotten the inheritance. So that was quite deceptive.
Yeah.
And Esau said, was his name then called Yaakov, the heel grabber? That heel grabber, did he grab hold of my heel and take my blessing? For he has caught me by the heel these 2 times. He took my birthright, and see, now he has taken my blessing. And he said, have you not received a blessing for me, or reserved a blessing for me? And then Yishak answered and said to Esau, and this is not a great blessing.
No.
He said, see, I have made him your master, and all his brothers I have given to him as servants, and I have sustained him with grain and with wine. And what then shall I do for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice, and he cried. Uh-oh, he's not happy. And Yishak his father answered and said to him, see, your dwelling is of the fatness of the earth and of the dew of the heavens from above. And by your sword you are to live and serve your brother. And it shall be, when you grow restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck. And indeed he does, doesn't he? And Esau hated Yaakov because of the blessing with which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father draw near, and then I'm going to kill my brother Yaakov. And the words of Esau, her older son, were reported to Rivkah. And she sent and called Yaakov, her younger son. And she said to him, see, your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you to kill you. And now, my son, listen to my voice, rise and flee to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay with him a few days until your brother's wrath turns away. Now, there are a lot of years that have taken place between the selling of the birthrights to this point, and we're going to fill it in now.
And when Yitzhak had remained 3 months in the land, Abimelech looked out at the window, and he saw, and behold, Yitzhak was sporting with Rivkah his woman. For Yitzhak dwelt in the outer house belonging to the king, so that the house of Yitzhak was opposite the house of the king.
Yeah, we had already gone over that. So 16, that was my fault.
Okay.
Yeah, 28:16.
28:16.
And when the days of the famine had passed away, Yahweh appeared to Yitzhak and said unto him, rise up, go forth from this place, and return to your land, to the land of Canaan. And Yitzhak rose up and returned to Chevron, which is in the land of Canaan, he and all belonging to him, as Yahweh had commanded him. And after this, Shelach, the son of Arpachshad, died in that year, which is the 18th year of the lives of Yaakov and Esau. And all the days that Shelach lived were 433 years, and he died. At that time, Yitzhak sent his younger son, Yaakov, to the house of Shem and Eber, and he learned the instructions of Yahweh. And Yaakov remained in the house of Shem and Eber for 32 years. And Esau his brother did not go, for he was not willing to go. And he remained in his father's house in the land of Canaan. And this is probably the reason that Yitzhak and he got along so swimmingly, is they spent 32 years without Yaakov around.
That is so true. But what a rebel was Esau.
Yeah.
I mean, normally I go, like, what parent wants a rebel for a child? But Yishak was happy with it.
Yeah.
He's like, that's okay, my little rebel boy. You didn't want to go.
Savory meat.
Yeah.
Big deal. You can just cook me some venison.
Listen, is it any wonder that we see the stomach being such an issue with the obedience today? I mean, that is
very true, B.
I just got through, I had a young man on Facebook. He said something, he brought up Peter. All food is clean and it's all meat is clean. It's food for us to eat. And I was like, no, it's not. We went through days and days and days. They just don't know. But he was willing to fight over food. And I'm like, that's a stomach issue. That's a physical issue. Why would you want to jeopardize not getting through the gate? Because the Leviticus is very specific. Leviticus 20 says,
Very clear.
if you eat what is abominable, you're an abomination, and you will not get through the gate into the kingdom. So why would you do that and jeopardize entering into the kingdom over food? I mean, is food that big of a deal to you? I mean, it's not.
Well,
So I'm
Yitzhak
sorry.
for a little bit.
Yeah, for Yishak, he was spiritually blind. So for him, it was, my son here, he feeds me food. I like it. Okay, you're good. Go.
And Esau was continually hunting in the fields to bring home what he could get. So did Esau all the days. And Esau was a designing and deceitful man, one who hunted after the hearts of men and reviled them. And Esau was a valiant man in the field, and in the course of time went as usual to hunt. And he came as far as the field of Seir, the same as Edom. And he remained in the land of Seir, hunting in the field 1 year and 4 months. And Esau there saw in the land of Seir the daughter of a man of Canaan, and her name was Yehudith, the daughter of Beeri, son of Ephor, from the families of Sheth, and the son of Canaan. And Esau took her for a woman, and he came unto her. 40 years old was Esau when he took her, and he brought her to Chevron, the land of his father's dwelling place, and he dwelt there. And it came to pass in those days, in the 110th year of the life of Yitzhak, that is, in the 50th year of the life of Yaakov, in that year died Shem, the son of Noach. Shem was 600 years old at his death. And when Shem died, Yaakov returned to his father to Chevron, which is in the land of Canaan. And in the 56th year of the life of Yaakov, people came from Haran, and Rivkah was told concerning her brother Laban, the son of Bethuel. For the woman of Laban was barren in those days, and bore no children, and also all his handmaids bore none to him. And Yahweh afterward remembered Adinah, the woman of Laban, and she conceived and bore twin daughters. And Laban called the names of his daughters, the name of the elder Leah, and the name of the younger Rachel. And those people came and told these things to Rivkah, and Rivkah rejoiced greatly that Yahweh had visited her brother, and that he had got children. And Yitzhak, the son of Abraham, became old and advanced in days, and his eyes became heavy through age. They were dim and could not see. At that time Yitzhak called unto Esau his son, saying, Get, I pray you, your weapons, your quiver and your bow. Rise up and go forth into the field, and get me some venison, and make savory meat, and bring it to me, that I may eat, in order that I may bless you before my death, as I have now become old and gray-headed.
Okay, and so we're going back into the story that we've already hit, but I want you to see, go and read 11, and then I'm going to skip you around.
Okay.
So we're in 29 of Yashar, verse 11.
And Yaakov was very much afraid of his brother Esau, and he rose up and fled to the house of Eber, the son of Shem, and he concealed himself there on account of his brother. And Yaakov was 63 years old when he went forth from the land of Canaan, from Chevron, and Yaakov was concealed in Eber's house 14 years on account of his brother Esau, and he there continued to learn the ways of Yahweh and his commandments.
Now go to 16. So do you see how many years we've got missing out of the scriptures? And all this time, so we've got 14 years and 32 years. He spent almost 50 years in the house of Shem and Noah.
Hiding from his brother.
But being trained up in the ways of the Torah.
So he comes back and explains why he's such a complete man. And Rivkah said, he's sitting at the feet of Shem.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
And Rivkah said, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Sheth. If Yaakov take a woman of the daughters of Sheth, such as these which are of the daughters of the land, what good then is life unto me? And in those days Adah the woman of Esau conceived, and bore him a son. And Esau called the name of the son that was born unto him Eliphaz. And Esau was 65 years old when she bore him. And Ishmael the son of Abraham died in those days, and in the 64th year of the life of Yaakov. And all the days that Ishmael lived were 137 years, and he died. Excuse me. And when Yitzhak heard that Ishmael was dead, he mourned for him. And Yitzhak lamented over him many days. I mean, they're brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of 14 years of Yaakov's residing in the house of Eber, Yaakov desired to see his father and mother. And Yaakov came to the house of his father and mother to Chevron. And Esau had in those days forgotten what Yaakov had done to him, and having taken the blessing from him in those days. And when Esau saw Yaakov coming to his father and mother, he remembered what Yaakov had done to him, and he was greatly incensed against him, and he sought to slay him. And Yitzhak the son of Abraham was old and advanced in days, and Esau said, Now my father's time is drawing nigh, that he must die, and when he shall die, I will slay my brother Yaakov. And this was told to Rivkah, and she hastened and sent and called for Yaakov her son. And she said unto him, Arise, go and flee to Haran my brother Laban, and remain there for some time, until your brother's anger be turned from you, and then shall you come back.
And this is where we were in Scripture. So
Yep.
do you see how much took place where she said, flee, go to my brother Laban? Okay, I want you to
She
keep
knew she
reading.
couldn't stop him.
She couldn't. But I want you to listen, because Yishak does give Yaakov a beautiful blessing. And I want you to see what you're actually going to read.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's all right.
You okay?
Mhm.
Do
Let me
it.
get a drink, though.
No drinks. No drinking from this well here. No, I'm kidding.
And Yitzhak called unto Yaakov and said unto him, Take not a woman from the daughters of Canaan, for thus did our father Abraham command us according to the word of Yahweh, which he had commanded him, saying, Unto your seed will I give this land. If your children guard my covenant that I have made with you, then will I also perform to your children that which I have spoken unto you, and I will not forsake them. Now therefore, my son, hearken to my voice, to all that I shall command you, and refrain from taking a woman from amongst the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Haran, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take you unto a woman from there, from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. Therefore take heed, lest you should forget Yahuwah Eloheka, and all his ways in the land to which you go, and should get connected with the people of the land, and pursue vanity, and forsake Yahuwah Eloheka. But when you come to the land, serve there Yahweh. Do not turn to the right or to the left from the way which I commanded you, and which you did learn. And may El Shaddai grant you favor in the sight of the people of the earth, that you may take there a woman according to your choice, one who is good and upright in the ways of Yahweh. And may Elohim give unto you and your seed the blessing of your father Abraham, and make you fruitful and multiply you. And may you become a multitude of people in the land whither you go. And may Elohim cause you to return to this land, the land of your father's dwelling, with children and with great riches, with joy and with pleasure. And Yitzhak finished commanding Yaakov and blessing him. And he gave him many gifts, together with silver and gold, and he sent him away. And Yaakov hearkened to his father and mother. He kissed them and arose and went to Padan Aram. And Yaakov was 70 years old when he went out from the land of Canaan from Beersheba. And when Yaakov went away to go to Haran, Esau called unto his son Eliphaz, and secretly spoke unto him, saying, Now hasten, take your sword in your hand, and pursue Yaakov, and pass before him in the road, and lurk for him, and slay him with your sword in one of the mountains. And take all belonging to him, and come back. And Eliphaz the son of Esau was an active man, and expert with the bow as his father had taught him. And he was a noted hunter in the field, and a valiant man. And Eliphaz did as his father had commanded him, and Eliphaz was at that time 13 years old. And Eliphaz rose up and went and took 10 of his mother's brothers with him and pursued Yaakov.
Can you imagine? I mean, Esau sending out his 13-year-old son to go kill his uncle.
That's
Go kill your uncle and take everything he owns. And oh, by the way, take your mother's brothers with you, okay? So 13-year-old. I mean, look at Waylon.
He'd probably do it.
Don't make these folks upset.
And he closely followed Yaakov, and he lurked for him in the border of the land of Canaan, and opposite to the city of Shechem. And Yaakov saw Eliphaz and his men pursuing him, and Yaakov stood still in the place in which he was going, in order to know what this was, for he did not know the thing. And Eliphaz drew his sword, and he went on advancing, he and his men, toward Yaakov. And Yaakov said unto them, What is it to do with you that you have come hither, and what does it mean that you pursue with your swords? And Eliphaz came near to Yaakov, and he answered and said unto him, Thus did my father command me, and now therefore I will not deviate from the orders which my father gave me. And when Yaakov saw that Esau had spoken to Eliphaz to employ force, Yaakov then approached and supplicated Eliphaz and his man, saying to him, Behold, all that I have, and which my father and mother gave unto me, that take unto you, and go from me, and do not slay me, and may this thing be accounted unto you a righteousness. And Yahweh caused Yaakov to find favor in the sight of Eliphaz the son of Esau and his men, and they hearkened to the voice of Yaakov, and they did not put him to death. And Eliphaz and his men took all belonging to Yaakov, together with the silver and gold that he had brought with him from Beersheba. They left him with nothing. And Eliphaz and his men went away from him, and they returned to Esau to Beersheba. And they told him all that had occurred with them with Yaakov, and they gave him all that they had taken from Yaakov. And Esau was indignant at Eliphaz his son, and at his men that were with him, because they had not put Yaakov to death.
Is that not crazy?
Yeah,
He's got
not a good
all
guy.
the gold, all the silver. So here poor Yaakov has nothing. He doesn't have a bride price.
He stripped him of everything.
They stripped him of, listen, they even got the clothes back, you think?
Possibly.
Probably
They took
Nimrod's
everything.
clothes. If they knew what they were, they may have left him some clothes and stuff, but I mean, they took everything he had.
Seems that way. And they answered and said unto Esau, Because Yaakov supplicated us in this matter not to slay him, our pity was excited toward him, and we took all belonging to him and brought it unto you. And Esau took all the silver and gold which Eliphaz had taken from Yaakov, and he put them by in his house. At that time when Esau saw that Yitzhak had blessed Yaakov, and had commanded him, saying, You shall not take a woman from amongst the daughters of Canaan, and that the daughters of Canaan were bad in the sight of Yitzhak and Rivkah, then he went to the house of Ishmael his uncle, and in addition to his other woman, he took Machleth, the daughter of Ishmael, the sister of Nebaioth, for a woman.
So, I mean, he's
This
like,
guy's just scum.
he is. He's like, oh, they don't like my Hittite wives. I'll go get an Ishmaelite. I mean,
He just can't see the forest for the trees, can he?
well, okay, so that is a very good point. So what does Torah do?
Well, it makes you lawful.
It makes you wise.
It lets you see the light, and you become wise.
You
know
are
the
full
truth.
of wisdom and knowledge.
And this lawless man was a blind fool.
Okay, so without the Torah, what does Deuteronomy 28:20 say, guys? If you turn your ear to not hear the Torah of Yah, you will be cursed with confusion.
Yeah.
And I mean,
And Yah will let you believe whatever confusion you're cursed with.
he's angry at his 13-year-old son because he didn't kill his uncle.
Yes.
But he brought back all the gold and silver.
He took that from him, too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, good job. That's mine now.
Yeah, that's mine. I'm going to put it in my house, little boy.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
And Yaakov went forth, continuing his road to Haran, and he came as far as Mount Moriah. And he tarried there all night near the city of Luz. And Yahweh appeared there unto Yaakov on that night. And he said unto him, I am Yahweh Elohim of Abraham, and the Elohim of Yitzhak your father.
We've actually finished. You should tell me things like that.
I just realized it
I'm
myself.
just sitting here. I'm like, whoa. So there we go. So
Yeah.
who was a deceiver? Really, both of them.
Both of them.
They were both deceivers. And Rivka kind of got her share of deception in there too. But listen, guys, she was interceding for her son and for Yah. She's like, this is Yahweh's plan. I've got to help make sure that my blind husband doesn't, because of food, bless the wrong guy, right?
Well, you can just see this. You can almost visualize the scenario, too. You know, there is no way that this woman who loved her son isn't standing in the doorway watching everything happening, making sure it goes the right way.
But think of it, Esau's her son too.
Yeah, but, you know,
Can y'all imagine? I mean,
she favored the other one.
she did because he was what? obedient.
Yeah.
So
He's also
favor.
the babe.
Wow. Did we just hit on something? So favor comes from what?
Obedience.
Obedience.
It's all about
Yeah.
obedience.
And obedience comes because we love.
Mhm.
We're obedient because we love Him. And that's why we keep and honor and guard His Torah, His commands. Have y'all noticed that the longer, and I'm saying this because I'm thinking about the number of years that that Yaakov spent with Shem
Mhm.
and with Eber. The more you walk this walk out, the less anger you have. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? I mean, it kind of cools everything down. It takes you a little bit longer. I used to have a fuse about this long, didn't I, Seth?
Yeah.
Now it's like this long. No, I'm kidding. No, but I mean, the longer you walk this out, it changes you. It changes everything that you're doing. So that's what this walk is about. It's
Yeah.
growing and changing.
And you can see here too, Yaakov doesn't, I mean, he just gives them everything he has and goes on about his life. And it's Esau over here being jealous and I didn't get what I wanted and more. Esau's still chasing mammon and Yaakov's like, all right, where are we going next?
Yeah. Yaakov's like, I've got to be obedient to Dad's command. He told me to get on. Dad and Mom both told me, go to Haran, get a wife from there, and then come back. So he's going he's penniless.
He's heading there rich.
He's
and
penniless.
ends up enslaving himself, in a sense, to Laban.
But listen, guys, all those plans are not always our plans, are they?
No way.
So what we see as this is the perfect way to get this task accomplished. He usually has a better plan. It doesn't look anything like what we chose. And I'm sure that for Yaakov, going to Haran to get a wife without even a cent in his pocket was not the best idea. But Yahweh has plans for everything.
And they're always better.
It's always better. It's going to take longer time. And Yaakov gets deceived, just as he had deceived when he takes a wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
He thinks he's marrying Rachel. He wakes up in the morning and Leah's laying next to him, and he's like, "Whoa, what happened?" Deception. You always get to pay for your sins, and he did. So he didn't get off scot-free for that deception. But isn't this a beautiful Torah portion when you see everything that took place? Mm-hmm. There's just so much deception and lies and thievery, and through it all, we will get to see Yaakov be a righteous man. Mm-hmm. And never at one point does he try to get revenge on Esau. And so what's happening today over there in the Holy Lands?
All a blood feud.
This is still happening today. We still have
Generations later, generations.
It's generational. We've got Esau and we've got Yaakov, batting heads, fighting, killing each other. What did Esau do? Oh wait, they came across the border and they beheaded children with knives and swords.
That's the claim.
I think it'd be more Ishmael and Esau.
Ishmael's-
more
Yeah.
so than Yaakov.
Yeah, Ishmael
That's right.
is not that kind of person. Ishmael is more Saudi Arabia. So this is more of the Edomite. What did Eliphaz do? He came and stole everything.
Mm-hmm. Took everything he had.
But what did Esau want? He wanted him dead.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't
So-
good enough.
Well,
You
because
can't just strip him blind. You got to kill him too.
and Esau is he's still trying to get his inheritance back.
Yeah.
He wants his land. He wants everything that he thinks was supposed to be
If you
his.
think of it from Esau's point of view, though, here my brother come in and done this shady thing to take something from me. I'd probably
He sold all that
stay
land.
pretty hot about it for a long time. Too.
He sold all that land.
Well, that's true.
He sold it to him. He's got a secret, a deed of sale to show everything he bought.
I'll say the blessing.
Now the blessings are a different thing, but I mean he just stole everything from Yishak. From Yaakov, and Yaakov's like, take it, leave me my life, so that Yah's blessing can still continue through me. I keep thinking something's fixing to explode on the desk.
They're all calling it.
So guys, do y'all have anything to add or questions about the Torah portion? We just need to remember that no matter what we plan, no matter what we think is supposed to be right for us on that day that we're doing things, Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you. There's no comments because nobody found this.
Just one viewer and 6 shares.
Oh. So y'all's plans are always going to be way better than ours.
Yeah.
Always. So
Always are.
be patient. It doesn't feel like it's going to be right that day. We had a lot of things going on this week, didn't we? I can't even remember half of them. But we're having to learn to just stop, be patient, and let it pass by and let y'all's will be done. Because his will doesn't look like ours, but it's always going to be way better than what you thought you were supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
And we're going to see that through Yishak. He'll come back with way more than Esau, right?
In the end,
In the end.
back with the nation.
In the end. So guys, we want to thank you for joining us for this Torah portion. If you have any questions, and most of our people watch this later because today's Shabbat. It's Saturday. Where are y'all? Oh wait, is it Black Friday sale? They're probably eating turkey and dressing.
Yeah, more than likely.
We're fixing to go eat dressing
We're
and
not going to
turkey.
do any Black Friday shopping, though, or Black Saturday, or whatever Black Day it
Is
is.
there a is that Black Sabbath? Uh-oh.
Get the drums going.
So guys, we want you to be blessed this weekend. Be safe out there. Pay attention to everything going on around you. Next week, we're going to start giving news for the week in a nutshell. I'm probably going to get Ashton to do that. He's going to be like the
Do that.
news reporter. He's going to have glasses on, like a pencil behind his ear. He'll be looking like your
Bring my
typical,
reading glasses.
His,
They're
yes.
good nerd glasses.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
They're not like yours. Mine are nerd glasses.
I think I just got called a nerd.
No, I will be.
But we're just going to kind of update you on things that are really affecting people out there. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you're watching the news, most of you don't know 90% of what's going on. So I know that there have been a lot of earthquakes. Dutch Sense is kind of back on streaming, and they're still
Got
trying to
himself
keep
a
them
new
off.
earthquake app, too, it looks like.
Well, he had to. He's got dial-up now.
Yeah.
I remember dial-up.
Yeah.
I can remember inputting an entry, and then you hit enter, and you could like take a nap, get a cup of coffee, go
Wait
outside,
5
check
minutes
the
for an
weather.
image to load one little
Yes.
line.
And then you come back in and you do the next one. Yeah, that's the dial-up tone. Yeah. So that's it. We're with you, man. We're praying for you and backing you. So would you
Yeah.
pray us out?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Abba Yahweh, we thank you for this time together. We ask you as we go forward to just be able to focus on opportunities to minister. We ask you to just help us to be safe as we move through the different aspects of our life this week. We ask you to enjoy lunch, bless the food, and help us to nourish our bodies. We ask you to just give us all an opportunity to fellowship together and get to know each other a little better. We ask you to just be with us as we come back upstairs for the second portion and keep the families that are going out of state to their vacations safe as well.
Yes.
We ask this in the name of your Father. We praise you, we bless you, and exalt you. We say these things in the name of your precious Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen. Well, guys, if you do not already know Yahushua as your Savior, pick up your Bible, call us, call a pastor
Yep.
who is teaching the Word, and talk to them, because I'm just going to tell you, times are different today. I'm not saying that the world's about to end, but we've got a lot of folks out there that don't like us anymore. China, Iran,
Lots of places.
North Korea. We're kind of on everybody's hit list. So I'm just saying, pay attention to what's going on around you. Be prepared. Be ready in the event that you don't wake up tomorrow. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not trying to scare anyone by any means. We are not created to be fearful.
No.
We are
Joshua 1:9, be bold and courageous.
be bold, be courageous, and stand and continue to stand. As long as you're standing in truth, Abba gives you the strength to walk this out.
Indeed.
So get to know our Savior. His name is Yahushua. It's not the J word. I'm very after reading so much this week. Oh, why don't you do that to me? I'm like I don't even like to say that word anymore.
Yeah.
Because it is you want to make light of his name? Do that. That's not who he is. He's not a made-up name that's been put together with Greek and Latin and with a J that didn't even exist. That's not who our Savior is. His very name means the right arm of salvation. So get to know him, get to know who he is, get to know what he is. He is Yah's right arm. He is our Savior and our Redeemer. And if you want to make it into the kingdom, you've got to walk like him, you've got to talk like him, you got to look like him. When you get to the door, you better know who you are. Or he's going to say what?
Who you be?
I don't know you.
He's going to say who you, he's going to say who you be. He'll say, get away from me.
Absolutely.
I never knew you, you workers of lawlessness, which is
Indeed.
unrighteousness. So get away from me.
And he's all throughout the book, but if you don't know him, start in the book of Matthew. You'll find a great story there about him and who he is.
Yes, and that is so true. But you don't want to hear those words when you make it to the kingdom door. You don't want to hear that. So, what do we say today? Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, we got not very many people here. What do we have? About 10, 15?
Yeah, something like that.
But our youths are not here except for Kaylin, and we got Waylon.
Trey was watching it today.
Aw.
Oh, okay. I think they're checking
Trey,
out the food.
I miss your blonde
Trey.
hair, man. So blessings to everyone. We will be back this afternoon. If we don't get so full,
Yeah.
if we don't gorge,
see.
we're not really gorgers, right? Okay, but we will be back this afternoon with a continuation of the first book of
Adam and Hua.
who? Who? I'm sorry, Adam and Hua. That's it. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit hungry. Okay, shalom.
Shalom.